Alrighty, hello and welcome. Uh, I am Miss Tech. Friends call me Tech, not to be confused with other tech type people. Um, Gonna do my first ever video here, and we're gonna start with something I know very well, Battletech. This will be the PC game from Harebrained Schemes, and I'm gonna play through a campaign in Ironman mode, and I'll explain more about that here soon. Been involved in playing with Battletech for more than 20 years. Uh, Not to age myself too much, but it's been a long time. And it's just, in my opinion, one of the best games that exists. I mean, it's been around since the 80s. You get giant stompy robots. It's got some of the richest, best, and most in-depth story, lore, mechanics. There are hundreds of novels, I think. Um, so there's plenty of fiction, game rules, tabletop, role-playing game, several different PC games. There was even a cartoon in the 80s at some point. But, I mean, what's not to love about giant stompy robots? Some people like to compare it to Game of Thrones in space because you've got interstellar powers, powerful beings, or like leaders, and plenty of backstabbing, betrayal, intrigue, assassination. There's even dragons, so, you know, what's not to love about all of that? Okay, so we'll start the campaign here, and throughout the playthrough, I'm going to probably throw some advice out here and there. If it helps somebody with their own playthrough, then great, and if not, hopefully it'll be entertaining at the very least. So you can do the standard campaign, which is difficult the first time you run through it sometimes, but the more you run through it, the easier it gets. I've run through it at least 3 times now, so although it has been a while, we're going to try and make it a little more difficult. So Ironman mode gives you one save file, and so if you mess up, it's game over, and you're just done. So we'll try not to mess up on this. One of the other things we're going to do here is the parts for mech assembly. Normally, when you blow up a mech, you can salvage pieces. So, like if you completely take out the center torso and kill it, you get 1 piece. If you take out both legs, you get 2 pieces, I think. And if you take off the head or somehow kill the pilot without destroying the mech, you get 3 pieces, which is generally an entire mech. I play through Steam, and I'm trying for some Steam achievements here, so one of the ones that I'm looking for is to complete 10 complete mech chassis with 8 pieces. So we'll see how long it takes to get that one. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to change enemy force strength from normal to hard because we want it to be difficult. Mech destruction I think is going to be a little too difficult for right now, especially on Ironman mode. Normally if you take out the center torso of a mech in, I guess, in fiction, in roleplay, in tabletop, the mech is unsalvageable. And this kind of goes along those lines. I played a few other games with this on, and all it really serves to do is make it harder if you lose your center torso. But if you take out an enemy center torso, it's no more difficult. So we're going to leave this off. The other thing that I played around with here was lethality, where you lose pilots. This does make things more difficult, but it's also less fun because if you lose your mech to a center torso destruction, you also lose your pilot. And in Ironman mode, that's more annoying than anything. One of the things that we're going to go through, there's going to be cinematics. I'm going to try and be quiet during the cinematics. So if you've never seen it, you can kind of experience it a little bit, hopefully. And if you have, you can always fast forward. So, should be coming up here on some talking. Alright, and I'll try to be quiet for a few minutes.
I am Kamea of House Arano, High Lady of the Oregon Reach, Protector of Coromedir, and the Sword of Restoration. But I am not a hero, no matter what the stories say. A hero would have sacrificed more, compromised less. A hero would have done better. You know this, of course. You were there. My father used to tell me stories about the ancient times. About the Star League, a golden age of prosperity, upheld by the great mech warriors of old, guardians of the innocent, protectors of the peace. I always dreamed of following in their footsteps. I was too young to see the truth of things. After all, it wasn't heroism or a noble cause that won me the throne. It was hiring a mercenary, skilled enough, perhaps ruthless enough, to carry the day. Hiring you. I still don't know if you fought for honor or for the thrill of it, for belief in my cause, or just in my money. But whether it was your noble heart or mercenary mind, your actions gave us hope. That makes you a hero in the eyes of history. Whether you believe it, that's up to you.
Alright, so cinematics are kind of nice. There's not a whole lot of the voiceover. I think there's just enough to make it worthwhile. Most of the rest of the elements, like story and RPG elements, you'll see are going to be these text blocks or like boxes that show up throughout the campaign. I'm not going to read any of this stuff. I've seen some people read it, and yeah, I have a hard enough talking sometimes, or hard enough time talking sometimes anyway, obviously, as you can just see. So I'll just let people read that on their own. Initially, I wasn't a fan of that art, so this animated 2D style artwork has kind of grown on me, and the art itself is just phenomenal. So one more little bit of information on this Oregon Coalition, Oregon Reach area. Before this PC game, it didn't exist at all. So since the release of the PC game, the actual overall company has made it canon. I think they released a source book. I'm not entirely sure how it pans out in the future, because I think this entire area was occupied by other realms at some point. I have yet to read the source book, unfortunately. Time and stuff. So I'll go through that at some point. So we'll go into story creation. I mentioned before how Battletech has some of the richest lore and some of the best story elements, and this whole background process will kind of well, it's kind of like the core of what Battletech is as far as roleplay and stuff like that. Every character has a fleshed out background, personality, where'd you come from, what are you doing with your life, that kind of thing. So this is kind of establishing that. Factions is generally the most the first place people start, like which area of space, which house were you loyal to, whatever. And how this works out is in a massive area around Earth, Earth being the center of everything, of course, and they call it Terra in game. There's interstellar empires, like the House Karita, the Draconis Combine. There's Merrick, Davian, Steiner, Liao, and they control massive areas of space and have their own armies and constantly fight and war with each other. So that's where most of the action takes place. And then around that spherical area, I guess, or circular area, because it's always on a flat map, you have the periphery regions. You'll get the Magistracy of Cannabis, Tarian Concordat, can never say that right. And then you've got like independent periphery realms, and then deep periphery is like, you know, backwoods, mostly unexplored territory, that kind of thing. I'm a Steiner guy, so I'm gonna go with one of those for this playthrough. I do see a lot of people are Steiner fans. I guess everyone has their own reasoning behind it. My initial reasoning back in the day was because I like blue. And the more I got to know House Steiner and the Lyran Commonwealth, the more I liked it. Just they're merchants that have banded together. They have one of the best industrial bases, and as a tech type person, that's just naturally appealed to me. So there we go. Alright, so more background. We do start out with a mech, a Blackjack BJ1. In the words of the legendary Tex, this is GM's okayest mech. If you're not familiar with Tex, you should look up his videos. If you're sensitive to language, maybe not. But Tex really does a lot of great work, and is part inspiration for why I wanted to start doing this in the first place. If Tex can do it, so can I. So here we go. Alrighty, building up more character. Yet again, lore and story. 16th birthday. How many games start you back in your teens when you're just starting out and getting on your feet? So being a House Steiner person, we are striking out on our own. And then what did we do after that? So we're gonna go with a merchant guard, I think. Soldier, pirate, Solaris gladiator. This is kind of like mech fight club. Actually, no, that's not accurate. It's like ultimate fighting in mechs. Kind of going to outside the inner sphere, so yeah, merchant guard works. And notice some of these give you little stat bonuses as well. There's our mentor, Mr. Mastiff Montgomery. And this is actual character creation, so plenty of portraits to choose from. This is in the she category. I am a he, so we're going to go there. But there's also a they, so you know, if you choose not to identify as one of those two, there you go, you got options. So again, I am a he, so I'm going to take this initial portrait. And we'll do Mystek. First name, and we'll go with JJ. That'll please at least one person. And let's see what we get for random. That'll work for me. So you can do a little bit of customization. I mean, we can choose whatever we'd like here. And there's more if you scroll down. I do tend to prefer this portrait for some reason. We can change makeup, tattoos, scars. There's a lot more in-depth customization with other games, but I mean, this game was not the highest budget in the world, so it's pretty decent. The only thing I don't like about this one is the beard. I cannot grow a beard in real life, so we're gonna go with one of the lesser beards here. That'll work. A little bit of scruff. Clothing. I'm not a big fan of these slider bars. Like, I've found different colorations of the outfits. I would like to see like a left-right arrow thing where it goes one at a time through all of them. But the game's been out long enough. That's just not going to happen. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Change some lighting around. And we can also change the camera angle so we can get a few other views. Yeah, we'll go with that one. You can change coloration, lips, makeup, eyes. Oof, some weird looking eyes. Good enough. Don't want to spend too much time here. People get bored. Alrighty, moving on. Nice little summary. Gonorrhea, pretty self-explanatory skill. Oh, cool, little box. Piloting, they did a pretty decent job with some of these stats, translating them into a computer RTS type game. And of course we got a few bonuses here, so. More cinematic stuff. So there's no voiceover in this one, so I will talk. But the again, the art style, I mean, I like it. A little bit of reading. And this is sort of a fairly typical Battletech type story. Since you have different interstellar realms with, like everyone's got a leader. When the leader dies, whoever's next in line takes over, and doesn't always have a happy transition. I guess they take a little bit of a historical reference for some of that stuff as well. So we are in the process of that transition. Yeah, long pauses. I gotta try and remember to talk during these things. I rarely ever talk when I play through video games, so this is kind of a new thing for me. That continuous talking. This is the back side of a blackjack. This is the mech we're gonna start out in. A little pilot there, kind of give you a scale reference for how big these things are. They're not like Japanese mecha. And I don't remember who it was, but somebody did describe them as if Caterpillar bought a Gundam factory. Like, this is the style of mech that they would make. And it's a pretty accurate description. Alright, moving around. You can use the keyboard. I rarely ever do. And this one I missed initially when I first played through this. If you hold down the right mouse button, you can rotate. This doesn't really always come into play, but sometimes it's nice to get a good angle. And we'll probably go through some of that here at some point. Alright. Click on us to move. We've got little movement dots. We're going to just go through this quick tutorial. There's about 3 stages in the initial tutorial, and they progressively get a little bit harder as we go. And there are some settings. I think in the next one I'm going to walk through those. Let's just get past this part right quick. It's a little bit of voiceover. And we're going to shoot this. This is to get you kind of familiar with the very basics of move, shoot, walk, jump, overheat. There are tanks in the game. It's not just about mechs, although the mechs are the king of the battlefield, so tanks tend to die quickly. You also can't salvage or use tanks for yourself, so I like tanks, so I was slightly disappointed by that, but realistically it makes sense. And there are a few tanks that you people will come to fear. SRM carriers, Shrek PVC carriers, even a Manticore.
All weapons committed.
Different tank names that are just, they'll mess you up if you don't take them out. Thankfully they die fairly easily. These little story boxes are the main way they convey story, cinematic, that kind of stuff. Jump movement.
Engaging jump jets.
So you can use the mouse wheel to scroll in and out. And I love how you can see the heat just coming off this thing. Heat scale right here tells you we're pretty much on fire. Water lets you dissipate more heat, and anything you do generates heat for the most part. We'll cover that a little more later. We're gonna do some melee combat. This is always fun. There's a mech with no actual arms. Headbutt's another mech. You'd think they'd just kick, but you know, whatever. They did do a good job on that melee combat stuff though, so. The movement did take a little bit of getting used to initially. It's kind of a two-step process, and we'll go through that again in the next part. This part's boring. A lot of this is just story stuff real quick and essential basics. That's a good spot here. So your movement line, the dots that show you where you can move. Different movement modes. Standard move where you can walk and shoot. Sprint lets you move further, but you can't shoot when you're done. And the jump we did earlier. It does generate a lot of heat to jump, but nothing as bad as what it just did. That's a special little tutorial thing there. So you click, and now you can rotate, and this will give you facing for where your guns and things like that are gonna point.
Full throttle.
And that does become important because you don't just have a 360-degree firing arc for the most part. More story. It's okay though. Story's good.
Mission successful.
More loading screens. I guess it's a good time to mention one of the troublesome parts of the game is there is a bit of a memory leak. So the longer you play, the game will sometimes slow down.
The Oregon reach of old.
Oh,
The time
more
of the
talking
great
cinematics.
expansion. I was just a boy then. Proudly we went forth, bringing the light of our coalition to so many systems. And for what? To see our great kingdom slowly waste away? Year after year, the Council deliberates while our economy falters, and the wolves bay at every door, while covetous neighbors plot against us. Well, I say, it can go no further. We are here today because if Lady Arana will not act, someone must. I know what I'm asking of you. You will face former comrades, or even loved ones, on the battlefield. I take up arms against my own niece. But remember, today we sacrifice so that tomorrow we can return our kingdom to its proper glory, to its proper strength. So should you fall tonight, know that you did so as true heroes of the Reach. To your stations, for the Directorate!
Yep, there we go. Someone's not so happy about not being in charge, so... Betrayal. Alright, so this should be like phase 2 of the tutorial. This one plays very similar to a lot of missions. This is a story mission, I guess, and when you go through the campaign, there are a few missions that are just they're specific to the story and they progress it along. Those ones are very lucrative. You just kind of get all sorts of money, salvage, payment, reputation. I mean, they're story missions, so essential to the plot, so they reward you well. And then what you do between those is normal missions, like side quests, I guess, if you're familiar with that term.
Command interface
Or just
initiated.
filler. Oh no, something's wrong. There's smoke.
I don't like it.
Alrighty, so we need to move up. And this will probably go a little bit slower in this section while I go through a few things.
Affirmative.
So one thing I want to point out right away is the movement. So you can see how they're moving fairly slow. Oh, alright, more story. 2 mechs up top.
Whatever's happening here,
And you can see she just walks at a normal pace. So with this one, if you hit your space bar, it'll do nothing and it'll make a fool out of me. So we'll try it on the next movement. And space bar. See how it kind of sprints like that? It just fast forwards the movement. There is a setting in there. I am going to let it run through at normal speed though. I did run into an issue where the video kind of lags a little bit when I do that spacebar too much. So hopefully it didn't just glitch in that area.
copy that.
I mean, the overall, if you look at the graphics on this, pretty darn good for like the lower budget of the game. Some of these maps are just gorgeous. Even the mech detail is really nice. Big tip here is when you see these hex areas that are yellow, never move into those until you're ready to fight something. First time playing through, I mean, it's a little bit of cheesing the AI on the computer, but if you think about it, if you were a mech unit, you'd wait for your slower companions to catch up to you, your lower teammates, before you actually venture too far into hostile territory. Alright, so trees. You notice how there's a little tree symbol, and over here on the left, it'll show you what that does for you. Standing in trees, it's harder to move, but you take less damage overall. So sitting in forested areas is not a bad thing. Oh no. They tried deception and it fails. Alright, so leading up to combat, you're in sprint mode because you're just you don't have to worry about shooting anything. So we're going to go into normal combat mode here soon. Try and keep her safe a little bit. He's gonna run up and punch.
That was a solid hit.
Okay, so here's another where we're gonna look into some of the settings.
My attention.
So we could punch back, or we could shoot. So we're gonna stand here and fire. Now, one thing to note: these little arrow things here. These are evasion pips or evasion markers. The more of these you have, the harder it is to hit, because it's harder to hit something that's moving really fast. So we're going to shoot. We have our straight red lines, so we have line of sight to this or this. You can barely see that red line there. So we're going to shoot the Shadow Hawk. And this is one of the settings we're going to change first. You see this little diagram right here? It shows you what you're shooting at. So we'll take our shot, and it goes away. So, I mean, it's pretty, but I have no idea how much damage I actually did to that guy. Some of the damage is pretty obvious, like you'll blow an arm off, and you'll see it go flying through the air. Yeah, and I have no idea how much damage I just took there either, so not optimal. So we are gonna click on our settings, and now's a good time to go through a lot of these. What we'll start off with is a speed up timeline for single player. Once you get into transitioning between planets, it can take like real time to move, so this kind of accelerates and speeds that up, so we're going to turn that on. This one right here, the speed up combat, will make everything do that fast forward run speed. Not the greatest for a cinematic or like a video, but if you're just playing through the campaign for like the 18th time or whatever, it'll help speed things up. We're going to leave that off. Zoom to contacts, we're going to turn this on. That way if we have an enemy contact, the camera will actually kind of pan over to the general area it's in. And then the reason we're here, this show UI during attacks. When we turn this on, then that little box that popped up there, that is going to stay there, and it won't just go away. I'm going to cover the colors here in a few minutes. There's a spot I think I can get to where I can show you both of those at the same time. And then a lot of the cinematics, because the cinematics do slow the game down, I mean, they're really nice to have first run, really nice to have for video purposes, but when you're playing through a career mode or a second campaign mode, a lot of these get turned off, or it's better to turn them off because it speeds up general gameplay. Okay, so back to combat. And we're going to take her and try to kill this Shadow Hawk again. Actually, let's show you this real quick. See this dotted line? This usually means you have a potential shot, or you would have a shot if you had line of sight. A lot of times you'll see this when you sprint into a range, where it'll show you that you now have line of sight, and you could shoot this, but you sprinted, so you can't shoot. So we're going to just shoot the Shadow Hawk, and you'll see his diagram. He's pretty beat up now, and we're going to fire everything. Actually, you know what? We'll do this real quick on this one as well. So anything you do as far as shooting generates this heat bar. When this heat goes past this line, this threshold line, you start taking internal damage, and you're going to have to repair later, and you could potentially blow yourself up. When you hit the end of your line, your mech just shuts down, and you're super vulnerable to, like, everything will shoot at you. So shutting down is bad, and you never want to do that. And then even overheating is you really don't ever want to overheat. It just will eat into money. It'll damage your components, and you don't want to lose your mech or anything like that. Sometimes it's good to overheat, push your limits. See if you can kill something before you die or whatever. And then we're also going to cover the stability bar here. So stability is when this bar maxes out. As you take damage, certain things they knock you around a little bit and put you off balance. So when this bar hits the end, you fall down, and falling down is almost as bad as shutting down. Things tend to target you all the time, and you're easier to hit. You can control this, and you lose stability just from taking a shot and not moving. And on the enemy, you'll see it right here. You'll see their heat scale, you can see their stability bar, internal structure, and their armor. And this is a Shadowhawk. He is in Forest, so he's going to take a little bit less damage, and he's got 2 movement pips. These movements determine your hit percentage, so we have 80% with our lasers, 70% with the SRMs, or the short range missiles. This one's a 75 because arm mounted weapons get an extra like 5% chance to hit. It's kind of a balancing thing. And then LRM, or long range missiles, has a 40%. Long range missiles have a minimum range, so anything in that minimum range is harder. It's harder for them to hit at close range. So they're medium to long range is where they shine. And if you're one of those people that pronounces this as LRM, please stop. That's terrible. LRM, long range missiles. Yeah, that's my plea. Alright, so one more thing with this is, since everything generates heat, and you can see this yellow bar, this is how much heat we're going to generate from firing all of our weapons. You can click on these to turn them off, and notice our heat bar goes down, up, down. This is how you can manage your heat. Lasers tend to generate a lot of heat, but they don't have any ammo, so you won't run out of shots, whereas these SRMs are going to fire 6 missiles out of 300 3 times. So what is that? That's 18 missiles, so that should drop down by 18. And it's per missile damage. Same thing with the LRMs. 5 damage 4 times. Or what is that? 4 damage 5 times. Alright, but let's see if we can kill the Shadowhawk. His stability went up and blew a bunch of stuff out. Didn't kill it though. So we could do reserving. I think we'll cover that next turn if we make it there. We're going to definitely try and kill the Shadowhawk.
All weapons committed.
See how this AC2 has a 30% chance? It just shot off into the left field there. There's worth a shot. They generally have a lot of ammo, although it didn't do a whole lot. So, okay, so the reserving thing, these things across the top, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are initiative turns. So light mechs, fast mechs tend to go on 5. They generally go first because it starts at 5 and works its way down. You can see there's a white chevron thing here, or arrow, to indicate my units, and then the red one to indicate enemy units. So you can see on turn 3, I'll have 2 units to go, and the computer will have 1, and then it'll cycle through. If I reserve, it will not do anything, and then push us down to initiative 3. So we're gonna skip our turn and wait, and now we have 3 on turn 3. So we're gonna take some damage from that Panther. Probably not that smart, but whatever. Okay, and we can select all of our units on 3, so we can select what order they go in. I don't recall. I think the enemy's gonna go next, so we're gonna try and kill him again with Kamea. He's got a 38 structure, 23, 3, so we should be able to do a fair amount of damage. And then of course this overheat alert. See how we're gonna, if we fire everything, we're gonna be over our limit. So we're gonna turn the LRM off. Wasn't enough, so we're gonna turn a laser off, and this will keep us under our threshold. Still do quite a bit of damage, and should hopefully kill it. And with the damage reduction, there it goes. Center torso destroyed, right leg destroyed, mech fall down, go boom. And then we're going to try and kill this panther. So we're going to melee. Melee is a great way to dump heat, so if you're spiking way up here and move into melee combat, it tends to drop it down like you didn't really do anything. So, and we still do 70 damage with a successful melee hit, but of course he misses. So now we need to depend on our main guy. So what we're doing here is, see this open area? This is going to be inside the minimum range for our ACs. And then we get the middle area here where we're medium range for the autocannons. And then the lasers will go out to this outer ring right here. I don't think it really explains it all that well, and the only way you can really see is to turn certain weapons off and see how it changes. But those autocannons will shoot way out here if we need them to. It's just the lasers won't fire when we're over there. So this is kind of a sweet spot. Got a decent percentage. So we're gonna move over and take a shot right into the back. You can see that we're in the rear arc. There tends to be less armor in the rear arc for these things, so you never want to get shot in the back. And of course we just hit the leg and a little bit of armor. Oh, we took an arm off. Alrighty. I think that was one of the lasers. Lasers have like a damage delay or something. I'll punch him again. It's got an 85% chance, and watch him miss. Oh, alright. Center torso destroyed, back down. And then we can move on to phase 2.3. More story. Most of your normal missions won't have nearly this much roleplay elements, and even some of the later story missions don't have a whole lot of this either. So one of the first things I did, because I think every new person does this, is you think we're going to follow the road and try to go up here, and it won't let you pass that gate. So the actual route is over here through the woods. And see how we're not in combat, so it defaults us to sprint movement again. Now we have an enemy contact. Is it going to zoom? I don't think it's going to zoom. Nah, of course not. So your sensors will pick up these red blips, but you can't actually see them or shoot at them. So we're going to reserve and see if they move forward. Also, I don't want this guy to go as quickly, so okay, so we're gonna move our main character up into woods, move our arc, and we should have a shot at one of those tanks. Striker. There's a little eyeball you can barely see, which means the terrain might absorb some of our damage, but we're gonna shoot anyway. And light tanks, so it blows up really easily. Later on, there are heavier tanks that can take a few hits. We'll see if we can actually get close enough to stomp on one. I don't think I've ever seen a tank, even the heaviest tanks, survive a melee attack from a mech. They just take increased damage and pretty much kills it every time. Alright, is this where we're gonna get our... No. That's not gonna do it this time. Okay. So what we are gonna do is we're gonna take this chance to, or this time to check another setting. So if we spin a little bit, we'll see that instead of a straight line, it's got a curving arc. So the only thing that will fire here is that long-range missile. This is an indirect shot, so if one of your mechs can see another unit, you can fire over hills and terrain and all sorts of like buildings and stuff. But only long-range missiles can do it. So it's red. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this, and actually I wonder if we take Kamea, will she have a shot like that? Oh, okay, fine. So we're going to go into settings. You can hit the escape key to go backwards and go into settings, or you can hit the little thing up there in the corner. So this is, I think this was introduced for colorblind people, but I actually turned them on by default anyway. It just makes that red sometimes blends into the terrain. So indirect fire color, and then straight line color. So let's save that, and we'll show you the difference. So if we bring Mastiff up to here, you can see this red line is now pink, and that's a straight shot to the tank. If we move here, it's this beige art line, so you can actually differentiate between your indirect shots at a certain unit or a straight shot. So we're going to just move up and take a straight shot because that Scorpion tank needs to die. I guess it's an AC5, so it's not too bad. A little bit of overkill, but I got enough ammo to take it, so. And then she has no shot either way, so we're going to sprint her right up here. And see if we can at least reveal that last tank. Oh, still can't see it. Oh, and there's another one over here. See, some of these units blend right into the terrain, so you can't even see them. And it's not even camouflage, so. Okay, so we'll bring the Centurion back up, and again, we're gonna sprint because we have like no line of sight to anything right now. In another video, I'll go over some of my strategies for success, I guess. Oh no. Little galleon tank. Galleons are fun, but they're fast, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. Oh, this is a great opportunity to melee though. So we can melee the tank, and zoom in a little bit so you can see when you melee something, it'll give you options. So we're going to melee, and now we can select either like this left spot, this standard one. I think there was a right hand one over here as well. We're going to keep her back to the mountain and coming from the side. We're going to turn those on just in case I forget, and walk up and step on a tank. Yeah, just immediately dead. And oh, we do have a shot to this striker over here. Since this is one of the, oh no, it disabled our jump jets. That's right, cinematic campaign disables your jump jets, lovely. Otherwise I was going to jump over there. He's getting a little hot though. Overheat warning, so we're going to turn off a medium laser. And kill the striker. There it goes.
Enemy unit destroyed.
Okay, more movement. Alright, there it is. A little more cinematic stuff. I think this is where she discovers the depths of the betrayal, where they, just to kill that family friend, they blow up an entire city block or 3. See, after that movement, he dropped down a little bit of heat, so it's nice. He'll fight on a variety of planets. This one I think is more of like a temperate planet, so it's pretty average. But there are desert planets where if you have a lot of laser weaponry, like you generate so much heat that it's rough to manage those. And then everybody loves the Arctic planets because you don't generate as much heat, or you sink more heat than when you fire, so your heat sinks work better. So you can do a whole lot more stuff. They did a really good job with those Leopard dropships. The original looking ones from the 80s were kind of like a flying brick. These are still brickish, but the animations on some of that stuff is like how it actually hovers and lands. That was really cool the first time I saw this. So here's our enemy lance. Lances are usually 4 units. Of course you can have less, like we have 3 here and they have 3 there. Let's see what we got. You can hover over it. Locust, spider, cicada, cicada, potato, however you say it. So these are light mechs. Locust is fast, lightly armored, has like 1 main laser. Spiders are super fast, and they have just a couple of lasers, but those are in the torso, so these are somewhat troublesome. The cicadas, and I actually say it both ways all the time interchangeably, so don't draw too much into that. This is a medium-sized mech, just like your Blackjack and your Centurion and your Kintaro. These are all medium-sized mechs. They generally have like average armor. The cicadas usually have like no armament and no armor, so they blow up pretty quickly. If this were any other medium mech, I'd probably shoot this one first. But since that's fairly easy to blow up, we're going to shoot the spider before it actually has a chance to move. And we're going to fire everything into it.
Roger that.
Hopefully we can kill it, maybe.
That's a critical hit, lad.
The spider has well, the same firepower as the cicada, and probably more armor. There is a variant of the cicada that's really dangerous. It has a PPC, so it's like a long-range sniper on a fast medium mech. Those they die fairly easily, but they can be troublesome. Actually, you know what? We are going to use our main character, and we're just going to stand and deliver. Should have some good range on this. Maybe not. What do we got here? Can't see it. Try that. There we go. Much better shot. And die, spider. Die. This was fun. Stray shot. Yay, he's dead. Stray shot, basically that was a miss, but since it was so close to its friend, the shot hit his friend anyway. So, stray shots are fun. It's pretty hard to kill a mech with a stray shot, but I've had it happen. So it just ran up and headbutted me. The laser you saw that fired afterward is a small laser. In another video, we'll go through mech construction and customization and that kind of stuff, and we'll cover it there. Alright, so we have Kintaro into a Locust that hasn't moved yet, so again, since they're easy to hit right now, and he's not going to be nearly as easy to hit in a minute, we're going to take our shots there. And killed it outright. Center torso destroyed.
Incoming transmission.
Attention,
service
citizens
broadcast.
of Coromedere 6. This is Lord Santiago Espinosa. With the unanimous support of the founding houses, I have assumed control of the Oregon Coalition. For your own protection, I urge you to remain calm and stay indoors until otherwise instructed. All hostile units, stand down, and you have my oath that you will not be harmed. Resist, and you will be fired upon.
Betrayed by her uncle. No. We're gonna take out our disappointment on his loyal mech warriors. Or the one that's left. Oof, big overheat. So let's turn that off. I tend to turn the lasers off a lot because they do generate so much more heat than other weapons usually. And 25 damage or 8 damage times 6, so that's what, 54 for that one shot, so it's just better to leave our missiles on. My math was off. Still alive.
Engaging target.
And dead. Hey, he's still alive. It always seems like there's something extra in every single mission, so yeah, see, more things coming down. I do love this big dropship, the bigger spherical ones. Unfortunately, you don't see nearly enough of those. The leopard that just dropped off these vehicles, you see all the time, you own one, so you'll see that one every mission pretty much. So far we've killed 2 guards, a bunch of tanks, 3 more mechs, and we got a couple more tanks to deal with. Everything just being thrown into the path to try and stop us. So again, that's pretty typical. You'll go into a normal mission, it'll say something like destroy this lance, and then you'll get reinforcements. So you'll have 2 lances, sometimes you'll have 3, and I think there's a few scenarios where you've got 4. So you got 4 units at most that you can bring in against up to 16 potentially. So that caught me off guard the first time I played this.
Vehicle down.
Some of those missions were like, how am I possibly going to live through this? And lost mechs, lost pilots. Again, some of the stuff we're going to do here in later videos will hopefully help people not fall into that trap. So cannot stress this enough. Customize your units as soon as you can. Should still kill it. There we go. Those tanks were basically a low speed bump.
Fall in behind me.
I'm gonna make a break for that dropship. Alright.
Aye, aye.
Well, there's turrets up here. Yeah, there it is. And enemy contact. And Wolverine just right in your face there. we're actually just going to brace. Bracing reduces your stability damage, should reduce your heat, and cools you down because you just sit there and do nothing. So sometimes it's good to do that.
Got my attention.
Right. So this is something I didn't point out before, so we're going to do that now. Veteran pilots like Mastiff get extra abilities like sensor lock, which is pointless for now. But multi-target is very nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to target this, and then we're going to target a secondary. And you can actually go to 3. And then just like you turn weapons off, you can select what goes where. So we're going to send the LRM to A, the AC is going to go to B, and we'll send both medium lasers into the Wolverine.
Roger.
And not enough to kill it, that's expected. Okay, oh, I misclicked, so all of my lasers went into the turret. Okay, that happens. And now we take fire. Ooh, that's not good. Orange is not good. So we are gonna probably go hide him in the bushes somewhere, because all friendly units must survive. Our little quest log up here. So let's see. We can do Kamea. She has multi-target as well. Although we are gonna have to move, aren't we? Sidestep a little bit. She's running a little hot, so we're gonna send LRMs up there. We can get 1 medium laser in. Okay, so we're gonna send the laser, 2 of our SRMs into the mech, and try to finish that turret off before it shoots us too much. There it goes. Light damage, we'll take it. And since we are apparently a rookie, we don't have any of those special powers yet. And we're completely cooled, so you get everything.
All weapons committed.
Okay, good damage, good damage.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Talk to me.
So, yeah, we don't want to lose him, so... can't reach any forest very well, so we're just going to park. Nope, we're going to have to move because we don't have arc, so...
Copy that.
Pray he doesn't get shot up too much. And hope for a kill.
All weapons are go.
Nope.
Punch right through his armor.
And, okay, I don't think I've ever seen him go hide there before. But it's okay, he's shooting our main character.
Warning.
If you're gonna have a pilot take a lot of damage and die, your main character's the one you want to have take the damage. The main reason for that is, while most pilots will die and they're just gone and you have to replace them, your main character will never die. He might be out for like 3 months. One of my campaigns, he was out for 4 months, almost 5. But then you don't lose a like a well-trained pilot completely. Losing a pilot for a month while it heals is one thing. Losing it to absolute death is totally different. So, we do still have line of fire. Okay. Let's just hit everything but where we want to kill it. So. Wow, a whole lot of nothing. Alright. Indirect shot. I don't want him to take any more damage. So arm is gone.
Take that as a lesson.
He's gonna punch. Nope. Yeesh. He's okay. So this is an example. We're gonna punch this because she's already got a lot of heat, and if I do any more shots into that, it's just gonna. I'm only firing my SRMs anyway, so I'll walk up. Okay, kill it. Good. And she's gonna dump a bunch of heat. And now we have a spot to move into.
Confirm.
I'm moving out.
More roleplay.
Thank you, Surashi. Thank you both. Won't forget what you've done for me.
And now we need to get Kamea into this zone.
I'm on.
And that is not good. So now it's 8 on 3. No way we're gonna survive this, especially since for story purposes it's shutting us down. So pilot ejection. This is a decent way to save your pilots as well. Like if you've got a very experienced pilot, there's an eject feature, and I'll show you where that's at if I remember here in a minute. We do another cinematic to go through the heroic last stand so that the princess can escape. Again, the art's really nice. I like the 2D style, and I've kind of come to like the animated version of it as well. Yeah, look at all those mechs. A couple of heavies in there as well. Even one elite mech warrior, you probably take a couple of them out, but yeah. And there's the sacrifice. Kind of pulls on your feels there a little bit. And there's Kamea's dropship getting shot down too. So, the good guy doesn't always win. So, that's again another one of those Game of Thrones type elements that Battletech does a lot as well. Good guy doesn't always win. They usually win, but they're gonna carry you along through some pretty decent story first. Okay, so here's our crew that we're gonna get, and this is a lot of the role play from here on out kind of takes place in these type of screens. Gives you a little bit of why did we rescue you, choose your own adventure type stuff. What about my mech? So he answers that. What about my friend? Answers that, and then this progresses us. I don't think I've ever not taken this response because that's just a phrase I use in real life. So that's how I would react to this. One thing with these orange areas, if you hover over, it'll give you details, so you can tell it tells you what a jump ship is, what a canopian is, and then the blood shit is like a like your history, combat record. Because of our Lyran background here, we get a special option. It doesn't do anything gameplay that I've ever really seen, but I mean, for story purposes, might as well do that one. 3 years later. That's another one of those nice things with Battletech. It's semi-realistic, in that, like, when you're in space, if you've ever seen the Expanse series on Amazon or wherever it's at now, you should definitely watch it for one. But it has a lot of those real-ish physics, to where if you're in space and you're not moving, you're weightless. Same thing with Battletech. Spacers don't have gravity. They get their gravity from actually moving through space at thrust, and if you move too fast, you're up more than 1G, so it hurts. Also, it takes days to go from like one planet to your jump ship, or one planet to another planet. It'll take a week of in-game time. So 3 years later is it's like 20 minutes. So this is what I call phase 3 of the tutorial. This is more in line with what an actual mission is going to look like, and it also gives you your additional pilots and your actual starting mechs. So you can see we've got our Blackjack back, so that's nice. We got a Vindicator, Shadowhawk, and we got our own Spider, so that's good. Okay, so we need to move over here. If you click on like this little plus sign here, it'll fast zoom you to where you need to go blow this turret generator up. So we're going to run up the road. Get everybody up there.
On my way.
And we're going to take the Spider up the back road. Unless, can we jump? We can jump now, so that's nice. Okay, we're just going to sprint him. We'll sprint him to there. Oh, before I forget, if you do ever need to have a pilot eject on their turn, of course it switches to our enemy turn, right as I remember to do this.
Cease your advance immediately, or you will be fired upon.
Okay, good old Decker. And tutorial stuff, so more tutorial reading.
Roger.
And accidentally accepted a click to go over here. Great. Alright, well, while we're sitting over here doing nothing, this little red button here is your eject. You'll usually save the pilot. I think they take a point of damage, like a hit point. But it'll usually save your pilot. You might lose your mech, but pilots you're going to invest in long term. Mechs are going to get replaced here and there. And on the subject of hit points, you can see at the bottom these little dashed, like Decker has 3 hit points, and Behemoth has 4, and everybody else has 3. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but you see the number 3 on their portrait? That means they're going to go on turn 3. That's another way to tell. So Decker's going to sit over there. There's actually a Steam achievement to have Decker survive the campaign without dying. That's kind of amusing, since he statistically is the first to die every time, it seems like. Okay, so we're gonna sprint up here to get into line of sight.
Full throttle.
this is one of those tactics of, normally I would have sent the spider up here if I hadn't misclicked it, so that I can reveal what I'm actually fighting. We've got lots of pips, that's not cool.
Waiting for orders.
Alright, I'm just gonna get in,
Pedal to the metal.
get up and in range. I won't worry about shooting later. Spider doesn't do too much damage. Commando does a pretty decent amount of damage for a light mech. But,
Double time.
they have like no armor, so if we can hit him, and they're slower than the spider, so they're easier to hit. And if we get a critical strike to an ammunition bin,
Enemy
we
sensor
can
lock detected.
blow up all the ammunition. You see all those red turrets. Thankfully there's no line of sight, so they're not shooting me too much. There's some missiles. Yeah, LRM turrets are kind of annoying.
Barely hit, Commander.
And there's a sniper turret. And I can't shoot back because I can't see it. Alright, Decker, let's see if we can get you to move proper like. Okay, so we're gonna just drop him in the woods. Take a couple of pot shots at this spider here. One thing that's really nice strategy is see how he's got 5 of these pips. I got a 20% chance. Doesn't take me any ammo, but just heat, so I'm gonna fire. And even though I missed, he's going to lose one of those and become easier to hit. That becomes a really valid strategy when you start getting into multi-targets. And there are times where I will set a multi-target for something I know I have like a 10% chance to hit or whatever, with like a medium laser, just to remove one of those movement and evasion pips. Okay. Let's see if I can... Oh, I don't want the turret. Can I not see? I don't know if I can see it from here. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not going to let me shoot. Fine. We will put everything into commando. Alright, so this is a resolve meter. Good time to mention this. Every turn, it tends to go up a little bit, and there are things you can do to make it give you more resolve. At points, you're going to get these little extra things you can do. So vigilance gives you defensives, precision strike makes things easier to hit, and you can do a called shot. So we're going to do that on the commando. Head has a 2% chance to hit. Chest is a little bit better, but this is really handy for calling out certain areas, like we know that the SRMs are in the right torso, there's ammo. Left torso, there's ammo, so we're just going to pick a torso and fire.
All weapons
And these
committed.
lasers went up to 60%. That didn't do too much, but enough.
Receiving.
And then we're gonna melee. Melee the spider, maybe. Do we shoot the spider? Nope. Well, we're gonna come melee the commando.
Moving to position.
And that spider's probably gonna shoot me in the back, but I think we can take a hit in the back.
Reporting. Critical hit. Good to go.
Alright, we're gonna put her somewhere. It's okay, she's got a line of fire shot from over here now. Okay, so she's gonna go right there.
Set.
this to blow up as soon as possible.
Warning. Enemy sensor lock detected.
More sensor locks. All these turrets are gonna get more shots off.
Warning. Armor low.
I should have been over there and that should be dead by now, but well, what are you gonna do when the game throws something in your face while you're in the process of moving and clicking?
Warning.
Thankfully,
Armor low.
there's not a whole lot of those. Yeah, see now. Taking more
Warning.
damage than I want.
Armor breached. Internal damage.
Standing by.
We're just gonna run.
Coordinates received.
If I jump, I'm probably gonna overheat. Won't get both my laser shots off. So,
Locked on.
blow up building. There we go. And all these turrets blow up with it, so I don't have to worry about those anymore. Now I just gotta find that tower and deal with these two little pests.
Warning. Armor breached.
Yeah,
Internal
Blackjack's
damage.
taking way too much damage. We're gonna back off. Should give me a little bit of an easier shot now as well. If you hit the tab button, it'll cycle through your targets. And we don't have a precision strike, but there's plenty of ammo for these AC2s, so
All weapons.
we'll take a
committed.
25% chance to try and kill it. There it goes.
Enemy mech destroyed.
What can I do for you?
You know what, we're just gonna move up there, spin around.
Affirmative. Targeting horizontal strike.
Doing a little bit of damage.
Critical hit, Commander.
And he doesn't get to move yet. Okay, that's good.
Commander.
So with this one here, it's like a sniper, so we're gonna jump it over here maybe. Yeah, that'll give us a better shot. I can't reach it with melee because it's up on a hill that I can't climb up, so with that PVC, those have a slight minimum range. So that range, that close, it's actually harder for me to hit that spider, so we're gonna back up a little bit and kill it. Hey, 50 damage right through the back.
Did you see that?
Suck it, spider.
I hear ya.
Now we gotta jump to get down, and that tower's over here.
Got it.
So too much heat. Not a fan.
Commander.
I do like jump jets.
Jump in.
They just make movement handy, positioning super handy. And we'll get that spider. See how quick those are. Man, those things are fast.
Moving out.
Not a whole lot of damage with the medium lasers, but they're great scouts. But you just move so fast that they're hard to hit, and then you can actually reveal different things. Oh, hey, look, a dropship with reinforcements. Surprise, surprise. It's like every mission, you can just expect there to be some kind of reinforcement somewhere.
Commander.
Okay, so let's see what we got. Go here. Yeah, that should be enough movement.
Roger that.
1 mech, 2 tanks. Oh, Shadowhawk. Okay, so we are going to shoot the Shadowhawk because mechs are more of a threat. Those are scorpions, so we'll take care of those in a minute, I think. Oh, no, no, don't shoot the blackjack. Gonna have to move that blackjack in a minute.
Waiting for orders.
Gonna run up and save the day. So 85, we are gonna precision this, and that autocannon is in the left torso, so let's kill that, maybe.
Tell me what to do.
Go, good shot.
And there's more where that came from.
Glitch is one of my favorite pilots, just because she sounds like she's crazy.
Yes, Commander.
Let's get my own Shadowhawk up here. I'll put that between the blackjack and the Shadowhawk. And shooty shooty. Oh, armor's gone. That's nice.
Forward critical system.
I'm showing
I tend to get really quiet when I think and go through this, so try to keep a better handle on that. Okay, so overheat warning. It's pretty light, but we have too much damage, so I'm still going to turn a laser off to be on the safe side.
Engaging target.
Oh, cool. My torso's gone, so it's down a lot of its weapons. Oh, man, these are nice the first time you run through, but annoying the second time. Yeah, we'll just stomp the tanks into oblivion. And it's fresh armored, so even if it takes a hit, it should be able to survive at least one round. The tank's just gonna ignore it anyway. And shoot the blackjack, of course. Ow.
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Orders.
We're gonna precision center torso and just try to kill it, or we'll blow off the entire left side and let it stay alive. Lovely.
Heavy damage. What can I do for you? I read you, Commander.
Kill the Shadowhawk. Kill the Shadowhawk. Although, actually, no, we're gonna kill the Scorpion because it has guns.
Special delivery.
And the Shadowhawk has no weapons left. It might have a laser.
Bye-bye.
We'll find out in a second. Oh, it's got SRM2. More overheat.
Engaging target.
There it goes. Mech down.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Hey, tutorial thing on. Call shots.
orders.
We're just gonna move.
On my way.
Kill that tower.
Target acquired.
Great job, Commander. Double back to our client's platform. The sooner
Alright,
we can
let's
collect
get
our
back
pay
to our
and break
extraction
orbit,
zone.
the better.
We're back into sprint mode.
Moving out.
And that explains resolve. Jumpy spider. A lot of missions do this as well, where it's get back to your extraction zone, A lot of times they'll put an enemy force in between you and your extraction zone, so you've either gotta kill it, in which case if you kill the enemy force then you don't have to worry about extracting. Or like, run through it as best you can and pray you don't lose a mech.
I copy.
Oops, I went too far on that one. Even after 3-4 playthroughs and 100 hours plus of playtime, still make mistakes. Oh look, more betrayal. It's like a running theme here. Enemy contact. What do we got? Turrets, tank. Oh, there's a turret generator. We are gonna kill that. Maybe. Alright, I'm gonna do something stupid. Just because it's fun, you can jump on things and do damage to them. This is called a death from above attack. So we're gonna jump on this tank. We're gonna jump to this area. And if we hit, it's gonna kill it. If we miss, it's gonna hurt, because when you do a DFA attack, you just automatically take damage to your legs. So let's see if we can. Okay, one's dead, and you see my legs immediately went to orange. So
One more for the trash heap.
that's a repair bill, but
My internals are taking
death from above is fun. It can be pretty effective sometimes as well, especially on vehicles like that. Kill that generator. That should be enough damage to kill it.
Engaging target.
And all the turrets pop.
Target building.
Now,
Destroyed.
provided the tanks don't shoot my blackjack, we should be good to go.
I hear ya.
We'll take Behemoth. What do we got? We got one there, one there, and that one's dead, so. I'm gonna move. Should still be able to see it, but I can't get a firing percentage on it yet. Yep, and a striker. Kill that. Long range missile tank can still hit my blackjack, and we don't want to lose that. I gotta repair it as it is. And if I lose it, I might lose the pilot. Never, ever fun. I can't see that tank over there, so I'm just gonna sprint and let it move, or let it just sit there.
Yes, Commander.
Fine. I think I can get a line of sight on this at least. Maybe. Can you see it? Reveal it at least? Nope. So, we're just gonna stand there. And it's gonna run away. Oh, no, okay. It's gonna run up to the road. It's a galleon. Not worried about this thing. I guess, unless it hits a leg. That would have been bad.
Not much armor left in that location.
Alright, and let's let her have some fun. That should be everything. Yep, 100%. Alrighty.
Knocked out a vehicle.
Mission over. Team meeting.
Mission
Successful. This video's been going on forever as it is, so we're gonna end that soon, I think. Okay, so mission reports. A lot of times if you hit bonus objectives, you'll get bonus pay. It tells you how much you actually make down here. Because of betrayal, we make nothing. Morale will go up. The mercenary board the higher your rating, the more difficult missions you'll have available. Hey, look, we have 1,000,000 C-bills. C-bills are the standard currency um, in Battletech. It's kind of like $1 credit or whatever. And then if you do reputation stuff, that'll be in there as well. Next we get a summary, so we can see all of the pilots get 1,000 XP for completing. Damage readouts, this is going to need to be repaired, that's going to need to be repaired. And then pilot kills. I think that's just like a story thing, I guess. Because we get XP, we don't get any bonus XP for kills, so it's nice to see what a pilot's killed and what it hasn't killed, though. And more loading times. Okay, so we've got some story stuff to go through. Yeah, strapped for cash. They did a really good job with so running through the campaign isn't as rough, but when you have the career mode where you just skip the campaign and go right into a mercenary career, a lot of mercenary units, like bankruptcy is a huge thing. You spend a lot of time making sure you have enough money so you don't run out of money. And it kind of gives you a good feel for what it's like to be, you know, a working class mercenary. With the campaign, you do get the story missions, so they give you some really nice stuff and some really nice payouts. Let's see. No guts, no galaxy. Great phrase. Take story option. Let's get through the role play. So we've got a few limitations. And there's our Leopard dropship. Okay, so at this point, I mean, the video's been going on for so long. It's been through all of the tutorial stuff. Next video I run, we're gonna probably spend a little bit of time in some of our customization screens. But yeah, we're gonna end it here. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.